Hello, and welcome to the Guild Wars 2 live stream. We're here today to talk about the Festival of the Four Winds, our most recent release. And joining me today we have...
I'm Mike Zadorojny, one of the design leads who helped out on this release.
I'm Link Hughes. I'm one of the designers who worked on the release.
Yeah, so we're pretty much just going to give you a slight tour of what we have to offer for this release. So I'm here in Lion's Arch right now, where the release starts. And right off the bat, you can kind of see Lion's Arch. The services have been restored to the city, but it's still kind of a mess. Scarlet definitely did a job on the city here. So, you know, we're just still in the wake of what has happened at the end of the last release with Scarlet taking out Lion's Arch. So we're going to go in here and we're going to pick up the story for where that happens. There's an instance here called Honored Guests, which sort of introduces the story. So I'm going to go ahead and enter.
So one of the things we really wanted to do with this release is we wanted to show that life was slowly coming back to Lion's Arch. The rebuilding process was happening. So the services that players were used to seeing in Gendaran Fields up at the Vigil Keep have now kind of made its way back to its rightful home in Lion's Arch. But we also wanted this to be a giant festival. As many of you are well aware, we just launched the game in China, and we're really excited to have all these new players joining us. And we wanted to do a kind of simultaneously worldwide, or as close as we could, worldwide release of having a cool festival to welcome in all the new players, but at the same time recognize all of the cool content and all the cool activities and fun that we've had over the past year, and bring back kind of the best of, and let the players really get into and be excited about this stuff, and get a shot at some of the rewards that they might have missed.
Yeah, so here we have an instance. It's just a real quick story instance where we have the Master of Peace, who is the leader of the Zephyrites, who we saw in last year's Bazaar of the Four Winds. And they last year brokered a trade agreement with Ellen Keel, who players voted for as part of that release back in July. So we have her sort of recognizing that fact that there's a trade agreement still, and that's one of the reasons the Zephyrites are here, is to help sort of bring sort of material and moral support back to Lion's Arch to show that there's still a good relationship between the two sides. And they're also recognizing the accomplishments of the player if they defeated Scarlet, and also the Biconic group we have here. All the group is present, and so the Link, you set this instance up. Do you have anything?
I'm just a big fan of the Biconic characters, and so was just trying to make sure that there was like a nice tableau and to kind of break out their various scenes. I really love what Scott was doing with touching on how they've evolved in the wake of fighting Scarlet, how Bram's still trying to kind of come to terms with what I think he sees as a sort of failure in his injury, and Marjorie and Cass expressing their concern for each other, with Marjorie's near brush with death, and of course Timmy, who is such a wonderful character and a chaotic element in the group. I think one of the really fun things about this scene is how she ends up getting to go off with Marjorie and Cass instead of with Bram, which is the relationship that we've set up primarily for her so far. And so in this release we get to see a bit more of her interacting with the rest of the group and developing.
We also wanted to kind of introduce new players to who these characters are, because this is obviously something that these people are going to be around with us and playing with us as we start moving closer to and into Season 2. So we were using this as kind of an introduction for people who may have missed some of the content. There is a little bit of wrap-up, a little bit of the story coming to closure of Scarlet and kind of seeing the destruction that she had brought to Lion's Arch, but also kind of allowing us as a stepping stone into what we're going to be doing next.
Yeah, and I just love the interplay of the different characters here. This is one of the things I think we have continued to do, and I love every time we do it, because these are characters that really have a nice dynamic with back and forth between each other. Rox and Bram obviously having history going all the way back to the Flame and Frost release, and Marjorie and Casimir and their conversations together are always interesting. So I just really love seeing these characters interact with each other, and I really enjoy anytime we get to use them.
Yeah, and I love what you did, Matt, coming onto this. Actually, I just set up the initial blocking for the release, but Matthew totally put a bunch more life into it with the various emotes and refinements to this instance. I didn't actually get to see them until just yesterday, and it really makes it sing, I think, all of those polished details that you put in.
Yeah, we did a lot over the last year of Living World of adding those little moments. You know, we had a lot of emotes in the game, but a lot of those emotes were built specifically for player sort of use, and so they're really big and really sort of in your face.
Yeah,
and they're
flashy.
not necessarily great for smaller character moments where the characters are talking back and forth and having a normal conversation with each other. So now that we have a lot more of a library of those things, you know, it really helps us to sort of sell these moments and give some life, as you said, to these characters that wasn't there.
Right on. Yeah, something that was sort of fun to play around with, like setting up this instance was almost a kind of puzzle, because it's basically this big open square, but there's all of these different scenes that happen in it. And so trying to figure out kind of how to cheat all of those characters out and sort of have a kind of theatric staging where you'll note they're never like turned directly at each other, they're always kind of facing out towards you. And that was definitely intentional, but figuring a way to make that organic was fun.
All right, so I got my festival token, which I got because I already have a character on here who has completed this instance. So this character is new to this instance, but my other character's already completed it. So now it says, speak to the transport facilitator to head to the Labyrinthine Cliffs. So we will go check that out.
So the focus of this release really is taking place in two different locations. The Labyrinthine Cliffs, which was home of the Bazaar of the Four Winds and the Zephyrite. And then we brought back the Queen's Pavilion and the Queen's Gauntlet as well. So you really kind of have these two diametrically opposed kind of play styles, where at the Labyrinthine Cliffs it's much more about exploration, it's about using movement skills and being able to jump into locations and really kind of find those hidden nooks and crannies. For players who came back here or were here last year, we had these sky crystals that you could go and find, and Matthew brought back this year, but we actually moved them into a little bit of different locations. So some of them are in more tricky locations. We even brought in master level kind of crystals in an entirely separate achievement to encourage like the people who are really really gung-ho about trying to find and use the skills and weird combinations to get to those really hard to find locations.
Yeah, and so the first thing you'll notice when you load into Labyrinthine Cliffs, if you were in here last year, you'll see that the decor has slightly changed. You know, because we're celebrating the China release, we definitely took it upon ourselves to sort of run with that aesthetic. And I think the prop artists and our environment artists, of course, always do an amazing job, but I just absolutely love the look of this.
You didn't want to res that guy?
I didn't want to res that guy? I don't know. I probably should have. It's too late. I saw he was getting helped. So you're picking up the aspect skills, which is one of the things that's unique to this map. You pick up these little crystals, and they each give you a different movement skill. So the number one skill is a super jump, which we call assisted leap. Then we have the sun dash, which makes you go really fast, and you can cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. And then the third one is coming up here. So I'm just going to run up to the top of the Labyrinthine Cliffs, which is...
just try and find a charged crystal too while you're at it.
Yeah.
Yes, the event is
Barkeep
running.
is running.
Yeah. So one of the core sentiments that we wanted to have as part of this release that tied everything together was this idea that everybody on the map is continuing to work together and come together and do things as a collective. And so for this particular case, we have two events that actually run every half hour. One of them, the one that's running right now, is collecting these charged crystal essences. And basically these are resource nodes that players can go find. And they move around between whenever the event runs. But they're always in the same location for everybody. So, like, if Matthew finds one, he can basically call out the entire map saying, "Hey guys, I found this one. Everyone can come and grab it." And then once you've interacted with the charged crystal, you basically need to take that essence to the Hylic, who will actually use it to make a spirited drink. And the progress bar that you see as part of the event is the entire collection that everyone has participated at this point. And there's multiple tiers. So right now these guys have already completed the silver tier and they're trying to progress towards the gold tier rewards. Once the event is completed, everybody who's participated gets the same tier of rewards, and it's just one of these things where we wanted to really bring the entire map together and try and have them either communicating with each other or trying to figure out the fastest or best way to kind of do these things.
All right, so we found a charged crystal, so I'm going to go take that back.
This is also one of the major ways that you can get additional festival tickets or tokens. Is there anything else that comes out of this?
You also get the sparkling effervescence drink that comes out of this that the barkeep brews, which I believe gives you a magic find bonus and some experience bonus. And this is one of two events. We're not going to get to see the other one because of the timing, since it happens a half hour later, but I just want to touch on it because it's my personal favorite. I really love what you did with it, Matthew, which is the Doliac race, in which everyone transforms into baby Doliac calves and then races up to the top of the cliffs while dodging traps and trying to get there. And the more people who complete the race, the more rewards everyone gets. I've been really surprised to see just how many people are completing it. Almost, I think 3/4 of the entire population of the map was completing it when I was hanging out there yesterday. And not that many at all are required to get the best tier rewards.
So I think one of the important things out of this festival is the favor of the festival.
Yes, the favor of the festival. So I actually worked on most of the reward design for the festival, and that was an interesting challenge because we had two different releases that we were bringing back and needing to update and unify the rewards across both of them. And so there were a couple different mechanisms that we used for that. One is the festival tokens, which is basically the primary reward currency that you get from pretty much anything you do in the festival, interacting with the events here, going and playing the activities that we brought back, playing events and fighting bosses in the Crown Pavilion, all gives you festival tokens. Nice. And then those can be spent on rewards we brought back from the entirety of That Is the Best Way to Get Down.
It is the absolute fastest way.
But yeah, to spend on rewards that we brought back from all of Season 1 of Living World content, because there's a lot of stuff that most people just didn't get the opportunity to get. They started playing afterwards, or they weren't active when a given release came out, and so it was really exciting to bring those rewards back and give people another crack at them. Though that was in and of itself, to be fair, kind of an interesting challenge because we didn't want to devalue the effort of the players who'd gotten them the first time. And so we needed to find a balance whereby they required a similar amount of effort to get now, but in the new content that we brought back.
Yeah.
So the reason why I was asking about the favor of the festival was if I'm an experienced player and I've seen some of the cool rewards like the amazing little mini panda or the tonic that turns you into a Doliac calf.
Yep.
What should I be spending my time on to try and get these things?
Yeah, so there's two ways to get the favor of the festival, which is this special item that's needed to buy kind of the really cool new rewards that we added here that you just mentioned, as well as the sovereign weapon skins that we brought back in the Crown Pavilion. And that's a favor of the festival, which is actually comprised of these two other items, a favor of the bazaar and a favor of the pavilion. There's two ways to get the favor of the festival. One is to get access to those two items and then combine them. The other is to complete the meta for the meta achievement for the event, which is actually a new thing we were trying. On the rewards end, one of the things we were really looking at was to try to give players as much choice as possible. And so the meta rewards have always been like a unique art item or a node in your home instance, stuff like that. And the only way to get it was to complete achievements. Here, what we ended up doing is initially we were going to put the mini panda as the meta reward, and then ultimately decided to instead give you enough currency and a favor of the festival to get the panda if you wanted it, or to get the Dolyak half, or you could just spend those tokens on any of the other rewards you wanted and use the favor to get one of the sovereign weapon skins. But the other way to get one of the favors is to play just the content in the 2 maps. Any of the events that you complete here in the Bazaar, or the activities, Sanctum Sprint and Aspect Arena, have a chance of dropping the Favor of the Bazaar. And then the Favor of the Pavilion is similarly dropped from gauntlet fights in the Queen's Gauntlet in the Crown Pavilion, as well as the Boss Blitz event. And in fact, you have a better chance of getting the Favor of the Pavilion the more gambits you apply, since they come from the Gauntlet chance bags. And of course, you can also just buy them off of the trading post. This is another experiment we tried, where the Favor of the Festival itself, the thing that you need to get those high tier rewards, isn't tradable, but the Favor of the Pavilion and the Favor of the Bazaar are, so that if you were playing the content and you'd already gotten one of the rewards that required it, that you wanted, and you're sort of done with that side of things, you could get gold for them instead, as another choice that you could make with the rewards.
I apologize. You're going to want to try and fail massively to try to get one of the Master Sky Crystals here.
Fantastic. I don't think I've even seen this side of the cliffs.
Yeah, this is one of the new areas that our environment artist, Jesse, added at our request. We wanted to do some, not necessarily super hard, but harder than the original Sky Crystals.
Not necessarily hard.
Yes. Hard depending on how good you are at jumping puzzles, which I am terrible at, as you can tell. And I'm out of. Oh no! Whoa! All right.
How did you not die?
I don't know. That is really weird.
Dev hacks.
Totally.
Yeah, right.
Well, although this is probably a good segue to head over to the Crown Pavilion.
Yeah, let's do that.
There's the balloon up top. So one thing we wanted to make sure was there was easy access to and from the Labyrinthine Cliffs and the Crown Pavilion. So from people who remember from the Queen's Jubilee, we brought back the hot air balloons that are located here at the top of the cliffs. They'll actually take you back to Divinity's Reach just outside the Crown Pavilion. Oh, good job. You map completed Divinity's Reach.
Yes, I have 3 or 4 world complete characters. I'm a little hardcore when it comes to exploration.
All right, so as we're going into the Crown Pavilion, we did bring back the boss blitz we brought back the bosses that players were fighting from before, from last year, but we changed some of the rewarding mechanics, and we also added kind of a new gameplay element to this. Crystal, one of our designers here, really wanted the idea of kind of encouraging the level of cooperation that we had with the marionette fight from previous releases. And so the idea was that this boss blitz could start, and right now we see it in progress, and there's 2 remaining guys. And as soon as the event starts, all 6 of the bosses will spawn at the same time. And you have 8 minutes, 7 minutes?
8 minutes.
8 minutes to kill all 6 of them. In order to get the gold tier rewards. If you aren't fast enough to get those 8 minutes, then it gives you another 8 minutes to get the silver tier rewards, and if you can't do it at that point, then it just unlocks the bronze tier rewards, and it's just cleaning up the remaining bosses. So at this point, it looks like we're at the bronze tier, and so Matthew's going to come in here and help these guys kind of finish up the remaining 2 bosses.
Get this guy.
Yes, don't leave your fallen members. And so we basically did this for a couple reasons. One, we really wanted to try and push some of the coordination that we were talking about earlier. And so the actually optimal strategy for this is not going in a single Zerg and trying to kill all 6 of the bosses one at a time, but really having like 3 or 4 groups kind of spread out, taking these guys down. And the smaller group tactics will actually be able to get you much faster times when trying to accomplish this. One of the concerns that we saw as we were playing through this, and also as we were playing it online with everybody, was we found that some of the events could be, or some of the bosses are a little more punishing, and the rewards didn't feel as strong as they could have been, especially once you kind of get into this bronze tier. So there is a build that we are doing. It may even be out right now. It is coming very soon or shortly. which we've made some adjustments. And do you want to talk about that?
Sure, yeah. So we've definitely heard the concerns about the difference between the effort required to succeed at boss blitz and the rewards that players are getting from it. So one of the steps that we're taking right now to rebalance that is that we're going to increase the token drops for each of the reward tiers. You're going to get 40 tokens flat always every time you complete bronze, on up to 80 tokens for completing gold. Also, we looked at it and we definitely were trying to preserve the balance of the economy with this release, and so we ended up deciding that there's not enough champ bags dropping from this, and so we've actually increased those. At bronze tier, you're going to be getting 6 champ bags once the hotfix goes live, and you can get as many as 10 champ bags if you manage to complete gold tier. And we've also, just to kind of address the rest of the hotfix, we wanted to increase the number of things that people can buy off the rewards vendor. And we've definitely heard that there's a lot of desire for crafting mats and tier 6 mats. So we're adding a obsidian shard that you can purchase now, as many as you want for 100 tokens apiece. And then also a T6 crafting max bag that you can buy for 300 tokens that'll drop 3 rare T6 crafting mats.
Yeah. This also kind of goes to help with, like, if you already have a lot of the cosmetic items, you already have all the rewards, well, also the things that you can get in there. And so both the obsidian shards and the T6 crafting materials should be able to help players who are either working on, crafting exotics, ascended legendaries, or if you just want to kind of turn it into and put it up on the trading post to get a little extra income out of this as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and to speak to what Mike said earlier about the way that we restructured these events so that it's not necessarily about everyone pounding on one single boss at a time. You really want to try to get groups on each one, as many as you can, just because one of the mechanics that Crystal put in that I think is really, really awesome is that when you kill one of these bosses, they transfer a skill to the others. And so each time one of them goes down, it gets harder. So it's much harder to take a guy down at 100% health with 5 extra skills than it is if he's already at 30% because you've had a group pounding on him for a little while.
Yep. And don't feel like you guys need to be super rushed in terms of rewards. This content will be around for a little bit, and we'll have more about that as we get ready to start making some bigger announcements about stuff soon. So just really kind of get in here and play the content and have a good time and really enjoy what's here, because this is... it's a lot of fun being able to kind of bounce between. You have the meta events that we were seeing in the Labyrinthine Cliffs, and coming in here and doing the boss blitz, and then there's the whole aspect of the Queen's Gauntlet up above. If players haven't had a chance to check that out, it's basically one-on-one fights against NPCs in a small circular enclosed arena. And they've been polished up a little bit from last year, but it's mostly been about bringing them back and giving the essence of some of the challenge that was there. And if you get to the point where you're downing these guys really quick and easy, then you can start throwing in gambits and things that make you have punished, like you're always on fire or you're crippled and things like that. That will give you additional chances to get some of the rewards that Link was talking about earlier.
Yep. Yeah, I really love what Crystal did with the bosses in the Queen's Gauntlet, in the Crown Pavilion. Just in terms of the way that she focused on the mechanics for each of them. I think my personal favorite is Karai, the centaur.
Yes.
Because it's almost this Pac-Man fight where you're chasing around this spiked maze while these this stampede of centaurs is coming to get you, and I always focus on killing him last because otherwise those centaur stampedes will come at you in the other places. That's the mechanic that he passes on, and so I always prefer to wait and take him down last. But I love that fight.
You don't like the destroyer who has the shots that are bouncing off the walls?
The destroyer destroys me. I also like the birds. I love the ogre, Shirak.
Oh, pro tip for people fighting the ogre: make sure you're throwing the bird seeds away from him so it draws all the birds away.
Yes.
One of the things I've noticed as I've been running through here is that people throw it right on top of the ogre boss, which means all the birds are right on top of the ogre boss. And then that's usually not good for players because they have a massive amount of retaliation, and then players end up killing themselves.
Yes.
Yep.
I do that a lot.
That's fair. Oh, also pro tip, don't run into Sparkus's firewall. It's an insta-death. Actually, amusingly, it's an insta-death even if you're testing the content. Like, it overrides our, like, you don't die thing. And I was just running around, like, testing the rewards here, and I kept dying. And I had no idea why. Turns out, it's that firewall.
Yeah, like that one right there.
Yep.
This is the one I always hated saving till last when we were doing our internal playtest.
By the way,
Oh,
when
yeah.
he puts the fire shield up, you should stop shooting.
Yes, I actually don't normally play my ranger. I haven't played my ranger in quite a while.
Oh no, don't die in the lava.
Unfortunately. I went over to my mesmer and I fell in love with mesmer skills. So
Oh yeah?
yeah,
That's fair. I'm actually currently
You're probably going to need to
I
res,
probably will want to res because I think I'm in lava.
Yeah.
Oh, there's chicken. Or
Oh, man. See, this is when you know, like, these... No.
oh, I got totally trolled. I thought that was
It's the roast pig, though.
Nice. And here again, I love the stuff that Scott did with the characters. I got to work on the Timey and Bram scenes for Edge of the Mists, and ever since I've just been a super fan of the just casual interactions and sort of small relationship building interactions that the Biconics engage in. And I particularly enjoy the interaction where they save Rox and Bram save Herotron from the
Yes.
Seraphs coming in. They're all, oh, we're gonna get you, and they totally run them off, and Bram's all standing up for this little machine that could. Yeah, great, fantastic, and that character's bizarre arc from Jabotron to Hobotron to Ho-Hotron to Herotron. Sorry,
Yes.
to Helotron.
Helotron.
Right. But he is a Herotron at
He is.
heart.
Exactly. Doing better not standing in fire.
It's true.
Yes.
It helps when you do that.
Yeah, I was worried when they asked me to drive because I am not the hardcore player. I play really casual. I don't do a whole lot of dungeons, so I die a lot, and I'm okay with that. But it probably doesn't make for the best showmanship here.
If there's one piece of content out of this whole release that someone has to play before they leave, what's your recommendation, Link?
I would say the Doliac race, but if you really haven't played any of it, I think Sanctum Sprint is fantastic. Like, it's just super fun, really crazy in terms of all of those platforms and the way that they warp and wend around this
Yes.
mountain. It's really, really cool.
So, for players who might not necessarily know what we're talking about, Sanctum Sprint is one of the two activities that you can get to from the Labyrinthine Cliffs.
Yep.
This is a race to the top, essentially using the Zephyrite movement skills that we give you in the Labyrinthine Cliffs. In some ways, it's kind of the spiritual successor to Roller Beetle Racing back from GW1, where you're picking up power-ups along the way and causing problems for your fellow racers.
Yes.
Aspect Arena being the other one, which is also available in the Cliffs.
Yep.
Both of those activities are available, I think, on the top level under the big tent.
Yes, and pro tip, if you are completing the Flying Doliac race and want to get back down to the bottom as quickly as possible, that is the best platform to jump off of for a safe water landing.
Yes. Oh boy. I appreciate the noble soul healing me, but yeah. I am in lava. I don't think that's going to work out well for them. So.
So we are getting a couple questions. One of them is about the Ascended Alyssa back piece recipe.
Yep. So that comes from the Queen's Gauntlet boss fights. And it is a rare drop that comes from the Gauntlet chance bags. The purpose of the Gauntlet chance bags primarily is to give you that chance. They also drop a single festival token because of the nature of our tech, that they have to give you something. And we were looking at balancing that, and that's one of our continuing ongoing conversations here as we're analyzing the rewards and continuing to see what makes sense in terms of changes. So definitely there's continuing listening here to the concerns that the players are having and or the things that you like and the stuff that we are focusing on bringing back again. Continuing to look into that.
Another question we have from Tank It Out is, are the events scaled by local area, or does it count above and below the pavilion? Each of the bosses scales based on the number of people that are in the immediate particular area, so if you're up above, it will not affect the scaling that's down below.
Yep.
Because that would be unfortunate, especially for like the people who are really trying hard to kill Leandri.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Liadri is I think some people have argued, and I think correctly, the most challenging content that has ever gone live in Guild Wars 2. And it was to the point that there were a lot of requests to bring her back amongst our internal testers so that they'd have another chance to get the Liadri mini and the title that you get for beating her.
Well, the title's new.
That's true. The title is new.
The title is awesome.
But that mini is a huge sign of status. If you see someone walking around with that, they are amongst our most elite badass players. At least you're not in lava. You're good.
I know.
You're good.
Don't stand in fire.
Don't stand in fire. People to rally.
All right, so for anybody who's joining in now, a couple of things we want to say is we're showing off the demo of the recent patch, the recent stuff that just went live, the Festival of the Four Winds, which takes place in the Labyrinthine Cliffs and the Crown Pavilion. For players who really enjoy the exploration side of things, the Labyrinthine Cliffs is definitely your cup of tea. For either single combat or these larger group mechanics against bosses, the Crown Pavilion is definitely where you want to be. Some of the highlights of things we've been talking about is the fact that we have a live build that's going to be coming later this afternoon. That's going to have some adjustments that we made to the rewards here in Boss Blitz. One of them is that we're actually going to be adding a new merchant, festival token merchant here in the Crown Pavilion, so you can either buy items here or go back to Labyrinthine Cliffs. We've increased the number of champ bags for all 3 tiers of the Boss Blitz. We've also increased the number of festival tokens that you can get from the 3 tiers of Boss Blitz. And then for players who already have a lot of the items or are just looking for something more that they can spend their remaining festival tokens on, we've added Obsidian Shards and a tier 6, like the Vicious Fangs and Vicious Claws.
Heavy crafting bag,
The heavy crafting bag is going to be up there for 300 tickets for 3 of those. 300 tokens for 300, or for 3 crafting materials.
Yeah. That was something that was really confusing internally, because we had the gauntlet tickets that were coming back, and then we had the festival tokens and the favors and all of that. Everyone keeps calling them tickets internally.
Yeah, I remember when you first started working on the rewards and you had the big spreadsheet of all the things, and I was like, I don't envy
spreadsheet.
you having to keep track of all that, because I had no idea.
You know, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's really fun to do that kind of math and to explore into the equations and the systems and how it all comes together. But it's the nature of rewards that you can't really be sure what's going to happen until you put it live. And so it's great to be now comparing that data against what's actually happening and seeing what the token drop rates are in reality in the different areas and gameplay modes, and continuing to address that balance as we go forward.
Yeah.
Recognizing that there will be a good amount of time for players to engage with this content, get those rewards that they might not have gotten the first time around, or if they weren't playing when those Living World episodes were out, as well as the new ones. I still love that the Doliac Calf tonic was not actually something we planned. That happened simply because Matt made that race, and it was so endearing. It just became this internal imperative. We've got to have this tonic for this. And if you have one, there is nothing better than putting that on and then opening your hero panel and seeing giant baby Doliac face looking at you with its big liquid eyes.
So this is a festival, so any level of player can actually join in and have fun with this. for the Labyrinthine Cliffs, there's not a whole lot of combat involved, so it's a lot more of the exploration, and we're giving you the movement skills. Here in the Crown Pavilion, we actually do upscale everyone to level 80, but we do recognize that like if you've played World vs. World as like a level 2 character, that there's a huge disparity in terms of what you can actually do as a level 2 character, upscale to 80. So we actually have some things going on behind the scenes that actually make it so you're more effective. So you can feel like you're actually participating and not dragging everybody down, but also get a chance to some of the cool rewards that are in here.
Right on.
Yep.
Good job on finishing it.
Yes. We had a dedicated group here. All right.
Good times. Do you guys want to go and take a look at those activities?
Which the Sanctum Spirit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it. Another pro tip: you can get out of the Crown Pavilion by doing this little thing here on the world map.
I actually didn't know that.
Yes.
I
It
always
saves
make the
so
run to
much
the blue.
time.
Awesome.
Actually, I think Dolyak race will be on too.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. It would have just started.
Yep.
Then that's a moral imperative.
All right.
You should also demonstrate the fast dismount.
I
Just
didn't
don't hit that.
Yep. Depositing you directly behind the ship for convenient, easy access.
Down here at the bottom level, you'll see there's a bunch of merchants here off to the left,
Yep.
where you can actually trade in any of the crafting materials, like the linen, the cloth, the leather, ore, and things like that to actually get supplies.
Yep. The Zephyr Sanctum supply boxes, which drop celestial crafting recipes for celestial armor, as well as a lot of quartz. And then there's also some rare rewards that come from that, including air filtration devices from Tower of Nightmares.
You're not even scanning for traps.
I know.
You're a hardcore
I
pro.
know.
Pro right here.
It does help that I placed them, so I kind of know where they are, but I should show it for people who don't have my precognition.
I've also heard that there's a more imperative that you need to look at the hero panel.
You can't. It doesn't work.
Oh, really?
You
Oh,
have
it's
to
only
have the tonic. Yeah.
That's yes.
Okay, so
See,
what you need to do is get the favor of the festival and the tickets or the tokens right now, so we can show players.
yes.
In the next like 5-10 minutes.
Turns out that requires a lot of effort. There's some of those traps that are just devious. Like, I always hit
Well,
that
it wouldn't
one.
be a trap if it wasn't
Well,
gonna
touche.
catch some of us. Whee! And this is where the term "flying Dolyaks" comes from.
You almost you should hit the. So you added these lightning for the lightning section. Those wind traps
Oh.
that sort of have like leaves and wind blowing across the open gaps that you
Yes.
would otherwise just be able to lightning across.
Yes.
And every time one of the calves hits that, it is the funniest damn thing.
Should I do it just for?
You
just
totally
for
should.
effect?
Because I didn't actually realize.
Oops.
That's not.
That's not what I want to do. Ouch. Yes, take me back to the start.
Every time somebody hits that, the baby calf actually makes this like "mrrr" sound. And I was playing with my headphones on the other day, and I totally had never noticed that before. I just laughed. So good. Man, I also love the sun sprint. The number of times that sun sprint has caused me to plummet to my doom as I try to cleverly use it and then go running off the edge of some bridge, especially in Sanctum Sprint.
I don't think you're gonna make it.
I don't believe I'm going to make it either.
I believe in you.
Noble effort, but 12 seconds is not a lot of time.
Perhaps what I should say is believe in yourself, Willow.
Oh. 1 second. Oh.
Ah,
Okay.
so close. Well, okay, halfway.
We did come in pretty late.
That's true.
One of the things you also notice for people who are returning from last year, we've actually added a couple more nets down below to catch people who miss some of these jumps.
Yes.
Especially towards the end here when the wind is knocking you back. Because we found it was a little frustrating if you get all the way up here as the baby Doliak and then get knocked off all the way down.
Yeah.
Unlike what Matthew did where he ran off the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't do what I do.
Man, I love Jesse's changes to this map, like taking all of the various kind of cloth banners that were previously just untextured and hanging there, and adding those interesting patterns to them.
Yeah.
And then also like the kind of the phoenix statues that are around that have an almost sort of paper mache quality to them, to kind of symbolize the rebirth of Lion's Arch and the way that the Bazaar is trying to help out. Just really cool touches like that. I think make this map just so gorgeous.
Yes.
And even more so than before.
And also, side little note, just because I love it, Kukachu's back this year. He has shows on the 15 and 45 every hour. So you'll start noticing when people, the people around here, these Zephyrhites and strangers, when they start gathering on the stage, then you know his show is about to start. But it does happen on the 15 and 45 if you're watching the clock.
I still haven't gotten to see it.
You're missing out.
I'm going.
You haven't lived until you've seen Kukachu.
Yes.
I believe.
One thing you notice too is that one of the rewards for doing the Doliak race is it'll spawn a few extra quartz crystal nodes up here. So if you're heavily into collecting materials like quartz, you get a little bonus for doing that as well. So it's
Nice.
not just personal reward; you get a map-wide reward for.
I didn't actually know about that.
Yeah, and it'll get more if you hit silver and gold. So.
Very cool.
Yep.
So, question from one of the fans. Is there going to be any way to get an extra ticket so we can get the Panda 2? I believe the question is about the favor of the festival.
Favor. Everything's a ticket.
Do you want to recap?
Sure. Yeah. So just to reiterate,
Go ahead and jump in.
this is from a question from Rumshark. So you obviously know that there's the one that you can get from the festival meta achievement. The other way to get one is by combining a favor of the Bazaar and a favor of the Pavilion. Favors of the Bazaar are dropped by interacting with the events in the Bazaar or completing Aspect, Arena, or Sanctum Sprint events, activities, pardon me. And then favors of the Pavilion come from the gauntlet chances that you get from fighting in the Queen's Gauntlet, as well as from completing Boss Blitz event in the Crown Pavilion. Those things are also tradable, so you can actually buy them on the auction, the trading post. So go ahead and take a look there as well. And if you just need the one or the other, then definitely sort of focus on the content related to that in order to get one of those.
I think I missed that.
All right, so here we have Sanctum Sprint, which is a race to the top. If you pick up the crystals, actually recharge your endurance bar, which is what controls how often you can use your 1 through 3 skills, which are essentially the same skills that we give you in the Labyrinthine Cliffs.
Yeah. So you have to use it at the same points when you see waterfalls. You have to sundash through them.
Nice save.
You see these little... Yeah, that was actually... I'm amazed. The lightning tether. And then we see a jump that looks like you probably couldn't make it with your normal jump skill.
Oh no, players are messing with you.
Yes, they are.
And it was a fake crystal.
Yeah, Matthew Pennebaker, I believe, was the one who designed this activity, and
Yes.
he was showing me some of the insane shortcuts and just secrets that are littered throughout this map. And I've been trying to just notice them myself on live, and I'm having a devil of a time finding them. But again, I just love how this map is so kind of layered and vertical, and all of the ramps just kind of go at these crazy angles.
Oh, dear. Oh, wow. I saved myself.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite activity that I've tried in the game, and was really happy to see that it was coming back on a daily basis for the festival.
Everything fits thematically.
It's true.
For me, as a designer, the coolest thing is having the markers on the players. That's something that I know Matt had a tough time with. It's not something that, our tools necessarily did super well right out of the gate, and so he had to do some really creative stuff to make it work. And I just think it's so brilliant, and that we were able to get that in here, because it really helps with a race like this.
Right on. Another pro tip, something that I didn't know initially, that sun sprint that seems to go on so long and then drives you off the edge, you can actually turn off at any time by
Yes,
hitting
you
the same
can.
key again.
It is a toggle.
So I think we're probably going to run out of time before we can actually get a chance to show the other activity, which is going to be the aspect arena. Stop getting knocked down.
Oh, I'm trying.
But definitely for kind of the people who enjoy real PvP or want to see some of the kind of the advanced versions of some of these skills, the aspect arena allows you to kind of attune yourself to one of the three attunements, one of the three aspects. Sun, lightning, and wind, and gives you some cool combat skills. And it's a small 5v5 kind of, not capture the flag. There's 3 crystals that you're trying to bring back.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a combination between capture the flag and like King of the Hill domination type style.
Yeah. But definitely a lot of fun. Definitely should check it out. And like we were saying, this is where you can also get the same kind of rewards that you get from the Labyrinthine Cliffs as well.
Yep.
So, oh man, combo there, right there.
Oh.
Jumping and dashing.
I love doing that one.
You got light travel. Use it. Use light travel.
What could go wrong?
0, 0, 0. Bam. Jump ahead. Now you're number 7. Look at that. You jumped 3 spots.
I did.
Awesome.
Oh.
Oh, now you're number 8.
It's not too late for you.
You can do it.
You just have to pull out.
Believe in yourself.
I also haven't played this
Uh-oh.
since last
Oh
year.
no.
So close.
Yeah, it's just the nature of Sanctum Sprint, though, that like everybody falls, and so
Yes.
it's not really, something to beat yourself up over. You're inevitably still in a decent position to place in the middle if you fall off. And I love the little activity touches that Matthew added at the end with the firework cannons and the camera, so you can watch the race from different angles.
Wow.
The
I
hat's
like
a nice
the hat.
touch. Yeah, I was gonna
Yes.
That is really fantastic.
Hooray, you completed.
Yay.
Well done, sir.
You also noticed that it's got the achievement. What was one of the changes we made between last year and this year?
Yep.
No longer do you need a place in the top 3. Just completing the event allows you to kind of work towards the progress on that achievement.
Yep, that's actually something that we just fixed yesterday.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Fireworks.
Fireworks. I think you can actually hold it down and it will go further.
Oh man. Oh dear.
Super fireworks. Right on.
Awesome.
Any last notes from you guys? Actually, we talked about what you really enjoyed. What is the one thing that you think that players can't miss out of this?
So the thing I think that players shouldn't miss is there's a couple of little hidden things in the cliffs, which I won't talk about a whole lot in detail because I want you to find it. But there are a couple of little things out there for players to find that give a hint to things that we are, looking at doing in the future.
Awesome.
So that's about all
So
I want to say.
mysterious.
But there's a couple of mysteries. The Zephyrites had always been sort of mysterious anyway. Last year, there was some definite conversations that happened and interesting things that were going on that lead you to suspect that the Zephyrites don't necessarily.
They're more than they appear.
Yeah, they're more than they appear. And so we kind of built on that this year as well. And so all of that's cool. And if you have a chance, just go running around and look for those things.
Awesome. What about you, Mike?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I have so much fun with pretty much all this content. You guys just do an amazing job with this stuff. I love the Doliac race. It's based on the kind of the guild content and the guild races that we've done.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the boss splits and getting in there, and when you get in there with just a couple people who are starting to organize, how fast it takes to kill those guys just drops dramatically. And I was one of the poor saps that wasn't able to finish the Queen's Gauntlet last year, so that coming back is really nice for me. Yeah, I was so busy last year when this release came out, didn't have a chance to kind of explore it as much as I wanted to. So super glad we brought that back. But yeah, I mean, the thing I really love about it overall is like there's a little bit of everything for everyone.
Yeah.
So if there's a particular play style that you really enjoy, there's something that you can enjoy for the next while as we ramp up towards the actual start of season 2. So thanks everyone for joining in. Don't forget to follow the channel so you don't miss out on additional live streams. Definitely come in and play the content with us. You'll see us in there pretty much this entire weekend. For those of us who aren't going to be out celebrating Memorial Day weekend, any of you who are going out and having fun, have a safe holiday, and we'll see you back next week.
Absolutely.
Right on. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.